Hey, girl, hey.
Best friend.
What's up,
Best
bestie?
friend.
What's up,
It's
bestie?
so annoying when people be like, best friend.
I love it.
What you doing, best friend?
What's you doing, best friend? That's my
Nothing,
best friend. That's my best friend.
Annoying. Best.
Best.
What you doing, best?
That's my best.
Oh,
that's my good old Judy over there. You heard that one? I love that.
I've heard that. But
that's my good Judy.
I hate the best friend.
Best. I'm gonna start doing that to you. Best.
Please don't.
Guess
Please
what?
Don't. I will act like I don't know you.
You better answer me.
Black at it again for another not so private conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's Martini Monday, best friend.
Yes, best. How was your weekend, best?
I had a good chill weekend.
That's good.
Didn't do too much. Got a little pedicure.
Oh, okay. Self-care. Self-care. I'll allow it.
What about you?
I didn't do much. No self-care, but I did get in you remember I told you I was gonna start trying some Korean skincare routine and beauty products. I got in some of the cleansing oil, so I'm gonna start on that. I'm trying to figure out if I should document it along the way to see, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it.
You should do that, best friend. You should do that.
Best. I should, huh? Best.
Okay, I really am gonna quit. But that's how annoying y'all sound when y'all do that.
I love it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, guys. Keep doing it.
So can we quickly talk about how we had a whole 2-hour conversation last week? An amazing conversation last week. And we have no audio to prove it.
Y'all. Number one.
Things happen.
I hate Zoom. Number two, you know what? Zoom does have a public forum that tells you when things are happening, and I didn't discover that until after we couldn't retrieve the audio.
Right. But hey, it's okay because I'm calling a mulligan. We get a do-over.
It's okay.
We get a do-over. Last week we talked to our favorite DJ / relationship pot stirrer,
DJ Rashawn.
Yes. And he said we could call him back to finish our conversation. And what we're really going to be doing is focusing in our scattered conversation from last week. Mm-hmm. And we're going to funnel it into one of our most popular topics, relationships get ill. We always get a really interesting listenership when it comes to relationships get ill.
Relationships get ill. It's more like relationships get real because I tell you, especially when we're talking to Rashawn, it's like we agree on a lot, but there's always things that we do not.
Oh, absolutely.
See eye to eye.
And so just like tonight, I know he's gonna come with it on his mind. He's very opinionated. He has quite a bit of life experience, so we're always down to learn. Mm-hmm. Especially from a person who has grown in emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. The last time we spoke to him before last week was early on in the podcast, and he came on very matter-of-factly and told us and our LDBs what it was, right?
What it was, what it is, and what it's going to be.
Exactly. So I expect nothing less. So call him up.
Hello?
What's good, my dog?
What's down?
So you hit me up the other day with a little something on your mind regarding relationships. And you told me you wanted to specifically discuss love, unconditional love versus conditional love and conditional relationships, among a few other things. So the floor is yours. I already told Jeanne, you really get it going. And we always get a great listenership when you're on. So the floor is yours. I'm going to sit back because I am here to learn. I am here to learn.
To learn?
Mm-hmm.
So listen, I want to be clear about something. I learn something every time I politic with y'all, every time we have this dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning new things. I'm learning new things as I am speaking and as I'm listening, right?
Right.
So what I text you the other day really came from a post. And the question was, is it possible to be in love with two people at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Then I posed the question to you, was it possible to even love two people at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one may be much more feasible than being in love. I
Right.
don't see a scenario where I can be in love with two people at
Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm
that's
with you.
me personally. Now it's rather subjective
Mm-hmm.
because we've all seen some crazy stuff.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to ask you. Like, so what do you say to someone who may say to you, look, Rashawn, I know that that's how you feel, but like, I love these two people and I'm like deeply in love with them right now. And I cannot see myself being without neither one of them.
I mean, polygamy is a thing, so I guess.
Exactly.
But are we equating being in love with somebody with being in a relationship with them? Because that's two different things.
Oh,
Right. So when I say like I can't see myself being without them, I'm not putting like a title on anything. I'm just saying like in just general, it's just two people in their lives they're deeply in love with, and they feel like they're so in love with both of them equally that they can't
Mm-hmm.
see themselves being without neither one of the other.
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
I have been in love. I know what that feeling feels like.
Right.
I can't put that into multiple women authentically. I can't.
Right.
Maybe someone else can, but I can't. Um, I don't believe that that's an innate ability that I possess.
Until it happens.
Oh, speak on it like you know what you're talking about, man. Like
It's like what I said before when I was texting you. We can talk only from our experience.
Exactly.
Until we have that experience, we can only say, what we think we would do, what we think we wouldn't do, what we think how we think we would respond. But until you're in that position, you really don't know.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it a
Now,
buck. I don't want to be in that position. That's
right.
tough for me. Like no.
But to me, it's all about how you are able to manage your feelings. It's about managing your feelings. It's not about
Right.
shutting your feelings off. How do you manage your feelings? Because your feelings don't have on and off buttons. Because if that was the case, life would be so much easier.
Facts.
That's true. That's definitely true. So, like I said, that really, I saw the post. I shot you the text because that's just what we do, right? But I really don't have I don't have a right or wrong answer on that. I give you a prime example.
Right.
I have a few sets of friends, ironically, that's married, that's going through some things, right? And one of them called me, asked me for some advice, and I said, "Listen, tell me what's going on. Tell me how you feeling." And I listened. And after I listened, I said, you know, dating someone and being in a marriage, a covenant, are vastly different. So I really can't give you like a solid opinion
Right.
on this.
Mm-hmm.
Same rules apply to this one. I don't have the experience
Mm-hmm.
Right.
of being in love with two people at one time to really give something from experience. Like you just said, Mia, you won't know until you know,
Right.
until you get back into that corner.
Mm-hmm. And you can really look at it many different ways because it's like, okay, I'm in love with one person. What's my history with this person? And then I'm saying, but I'm also in love with another person. What's the background with that person? Is this a brand new person?
Right.
Is this an ex? Is this a childhood sweetheart, high school sweetheart, college sweetheart? Like, who
Exactly.
are these people for you to feel like you're in love with both of them at the same time?
Do either one of y'all have experiences where y'all know someone who have felt that way? Because I've had that. A friend who thought they was in love, but from the outside looking in, it looked like in love in lust.
Right.
Know?
So you could say, you could really feel like you're in love with this person, but being in love is like there's levels to what it means to be in love. Is it shallow love? Is it lust? Is it infatuation?
Right.
Are they just doing what you like right now versus is this a long term, I'm in love with you because I've been with you for 10 years? And that type of
and what does love mean to the person who thinks they're in love with multiple people? Because they may have
love really.
Exactly. they may see love totally different than we do. And their concept of love and the feelings that they get may just be foreign to us. Because there are people like that. What they feel like is love is not the same thing that we feel like is love.
Right. They could think love is abuse. They could think love is somebody beating on them and then apologizing afterwards. So it just depends. Like you said, Rashawn, is very, very, very subjective. It depends on the person.
Yeah, and context matters. I always say that.
Mm-hmm.
Context definitely matters. I think that the more that men and women have non-judgmental dialogue about these, we can not only learn, but we can grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just that, I think that I think when we do have these type of conversations, men and women need to make sure that they validate each other's experiences, because that's what I find, like the neglecting. Like somebody will say, this is my experience, then somebody else will say their experience, and then one person will act like that can't happen because they never went through something like that. And it's like, there's like 1,000 ways to skin a deer. I'm not gonna say a cat.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Clubhouse to me. Sounds
exactly
like the foolishness they partake in.
Oh my God. It's always arguing at the end of the night on Clubhouse. Let me have to sign off.
But let's jump in. So you had this conversation you wanted to bring up about love languages and unconditional love. Where are we going with this today? Because a lot of our LDBs are having I don't want to say issues, but having experiences in the love department. Relationships are all the rage.
So here's my thing. As I get back into the dating world, right? I am very cognitive of what it is I want and what I need to put out in the universe to get that energy back to me, right? So when you talk about the 5 love languages, what I've noticed is people have a tendency to stick with the highest percentage. You know, when you take that test, it's broken down into percentages.
Yes.
Right? So for me, I'm like, no, that's not what I desire. My desire is to love a woman with all 5 of those love languages. Okay? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if one has 53% and one has 22%. That's still a part of her. And I need to figure out a way to love her in all of those percentages.
Right.
So I want that love back.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you want that love back in your love language.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. But listen, this is just me having conversations with different people. I've noticed that they only focus on whatever the 2 highest percentages are.
Right. You're right. They only get stuck on, well, my love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. Forget all the other ones. But it's like, you need all 5 of them. But I would also argue to say that there are much more than 5. We're not going to limit them to just 5 love languages.
Right. So here's the thing. I think that there are there are languages within those.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, now I'm interested.
There are languages within those 5 that make
Okay.
them expand,
Okay.
right? And so when you get into the depth of the person that you're with, see, here's the thing, and here's how we're going to connect that to conditional love versus unconditional love. See, some people love come with terms and conditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Some
not
people
signing up for that one.
some people have been hurt, so they have walls up, or they have never been loved properly, so they don't exactly know what they want.
Exactly. Are
Terms
you
and
saying are you saying that you don't believe love should come with terms and conditions? Because at the end of the day, aren't terms and conditions just boundaries?
Interesting.
So watch this. Okay, you want to get into it, huh?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so say that again.
Like, aren't at the end of the day, aren't terms and conditions just boundaries that you're setting?
Terms.
Are we talking about love, or are we talking about relationship?
Break that down, Mia.
Love is that emotion, that feeling, that action. Relationships are the confines with where we express that love. What are we talking about?
I'm talking about both. I'm talking about love in a relationship. You know how people say, everyone wants to marry someone that they believe they can love unconditionally. But at the end of the day, that same person that you're saying you want to love unconditionally, you do have a set of rules, terms and conditions, aka boundaries, that person, if they break those, it's curtains, or it's going to be tough.
That's why I say love, the act of love versus the act of being in a relationship. One can absolutely be unconditional. If I love you, I love you. But inside of a relationship, it's certain things that's not going to fly. It's certain things that need to happen. So there's we have to specify exactly.
Because you can love somebody until your last breath, but not be in a relationship with them.
Exactly.
Okay, so I thought we were gearing it towards relationships.
I mean, we can.
We can. She was just asking, so we knew exactly.
Just so we know, so our LDBs know where we're going with it.
Gotcha. So check this out. So conditional love is a polarizing emotion, meaning that it has an opposite emotion. Going somewhere. When we love someone conditionally, we tend to want them to look, act, and think in ways that fit our paradigms and expectations. Right? It's neutral. It has no opposite polarity. Right?
Okay.
I'm going to go to the other side. The source of unconditional love is spirit.
Okay.
Therefore, it's available to everyone without discernment.
Okay.
And there's absolutely nothing that we need to do to qualify for it.
That's it.
Right.
I'm with you 100%.
What does one need to do to qualify with you? So now, when we get back to terms and conditions, aka boundaries, there's a thin line between terms and conditions and boundaries. It's that is the adverse effect of something as simple as I'm operating with a person in general, not just a relationship, just in general, out of respect versus fear.
Are we assuming, when we talk about relationship, we're assuming romantic relationship?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Be clear. Okay.
Yeah. That's where I was. I thought that's where.
Okay. You're right. So when it comes to people that I love, romantic, non-romantic, let's say familial, friendship wise, co-workers, strangers on the street, yeah, sure, I love everybody. I'm supposed to have love in my heart for everybody. But and there's nothing that you need to do that qualifies you for me to love you, because I unconditionally love you. You're another human being. I hope you feel the same about me. You know, it's that type of thing. But when we get off into things that are good for us, romantic relationships, I'm trying to build a life with this person. I want to have children with this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with this person who's supposed to advance me and grow me, and I'm supposed to do the same thing for them in our lives together. There has to be terms and conditions. There has to be boundaries. There has to be lines drawn. There has to be parameters, because within certain parameters, it is a known fact that relationships either thrive or they fail. So you want the best for your relationship, you got to operate within certain parameters. I'm not evolved enough to say it's just free love. You can do whatever you want. You can be with whoever you want. You can try whatever you want.
No.
And we just gonna work. I have terms and conditions that apply to relationships, but at the same time, that's the relationship. It has no real bearing on if I say I feel this way about you,
right?
You know, that it's going to change how I feel about you. Once I love you, I'm all the way there. That does not mean we are going to be together. It does not mean, you know, what a lot of people think that it means when it comes to we in a relationship.
Right.
You my boyfriend, you my girlfriend, you're my fiance, you're my husband, you're my wife. We have to operate within certain parameters. Now, that's also subjective, because every relationship is everybody's relationship. You have a set of rules for your relationship. I have a set of rules for my relationship. And if you break these terms and conditions, it's going to be a problem.
Okay. I echo that point 100%.
That's if we communicate those terms and conditions,
which a lot of times don't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Till like we're in it, because it's all about communication, not communicating at that point. But I agree with Mia. Everything that I felt about what you were saying is pretty much you pretty much pointed every last thing of how I feel. I was like, right, yes, great, okay.
Hey, best friend, okay.
Best. We are on the same wave, best.
But if I know Rashawn, I know he's gonna throw a monkey wrench in.
Let's go.
In my theory.
No, listen. I'm not here to throw a monkey wrench in your.
Okay, good. Theory. Okay, good.
Not on this. Here's what I will say, and it's not a monkey wrench. Could possibly be an add-on.
Okay.
Some of these things that come about later on shouldn't come about later on. Should you talk about things in the beginning? Should you communicate not just in the beginning, but throughout your relationship? Of course you should. However, certain things that should just be common sense. Like
I agree with the common sense part.
You may think it should be common sense, but it's all about how that person's experiences and pretty much how they were brought up and how they maneuver inside of a relationship.
And sometimes it's not. And life experiences teach us as we get older, as we've been I don't want to say in and out of relationships, because that sounds
but I mean that's true to people's experience.
Right.
People who are in and out of relationships.
Right. we either pick the wrong person or we give the wrong person the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, based on this this false feeling of that's who I want, but they're not what I need.
Guilty.
Who you want isn't always you know, one in the
Yeah,
Guilty.
that's so true.
and
We
so
all
like,
went through that.
I was talking to a friend, and I made a Facebook post about this. This was probably like a month or two ago. I don't know if you saw it, Mia, but we were having a conversation, and the conversation got to the point to where she was like, all I do, I might have told y'all this. All I do is attract fuck boys.
Mm.
And I said, negative. I said, you're a woman, a beautiful woman. You attract everybody. You chose that fuck boy.
Ooh.
That L.
Okay.
Well.
Because you had a choice.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
You chose.
We all have a choice who we let into our lives and who we don't.
You chose them, so you got to eat that. So there's two sides to this coin. I need us to take more responsibility for self actions and stop putting this jacket on the opposite relationship. Niggas ain't shit. These women don't do this. These men don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're making the decision to be the person you shouldn't be with.
Yep.
So you need to stop.
Yep.
And it doesn't take you having 3-4 babies for this nigga before you figure out that he wasn't shit. You knew that on the first baby that he wasn't taken care of. But yet you want to let him nut in you again. And again.
What did I say like 3 episodes ago? You make decisions. You are one decision away from changing your life.
That's true.
You're one decision away. Change your mind, change your life.
Now, did she? I'm pretty sure she meant, and this is what I see with my friends who say those same things. Okay. I'm like, I don't think that's who you attract. I just think that's who you're in proximity with most of the time. So that's all the people who are going to come up to you. If you always at the club on the weekend, why are you surprised that club niggas always trying to holler at you? You know?
We did have a conversation about proximity, and a lot of times we just get impatient or we get lazy and we pick the person in closest proximity to us, and we try to justify why you pick this person, why he's okay. Well, he's better than my ex. It's because you're comfortable. It's because you may be a little lazy. It's because you're just tired. And
lazy, that is a great point, because I was also thinking this one friend I'm thinking of, the things she's interested in, she don't put herself in situations and positions where she will meet other people that's interested in those same things so that she can attract those people.
Maybe it's like what Rashawn said. It's a level of fear that you operate in, and you don't necessarily know how to interact or how to put yourself out there like that. There's fear. There's reservation about, being vulnerable.
Watch this, y'all. Watch this.
Don't want to do it.
Watch this, okay? So since that's where we going with your friend, let's go with that scenario. Check this out. Oftentimes, more times than not, men and women find themselves in that particular situation because if they go to the place to get the thing that they actually want, then they have to look at themselves in the mirror naked and say, I have to be better. I have to elevate myself. And it's easier for them to dumb it down than to get themselves together with that person that's going to elevate them and help them get to that next level.
Absolutely.
Accountability.
Right.
Now watch this. Because I don't want to skip over that last part, because I know how we do, and I know we're going to be jumping in a moment.
Right.
Y'all know me. Y'all know I'm an equal opportunity smoke giver. So the same rules that apply for that woman is the same rules that apply for that man. Because I got some
Thank
friends
you.
like, yo, my nigga, so you on your third baby mama, you ain't figured out this shit is a bad idea?
You want to try something different?
So you ain't figured out yet. Like all your children got their own individual mama, and you go to court for all three of them. Like you ain't figured out yet.
Oh.
Mia, don't tilt your head back. If we gonna do this, we gonna do this on this Good Monday night.
Hey, we doing it. Ooh, I need to pour another glass of wine if we
right.
Pour you another one. So I'm just saying that there are some things that we need to do better as individuals. However, there are some responsibilities that we as men need to take on and take certain burdens and stripes away from women. I told y'all the last time we talked that I've been single for as long as I have because there was no point of me wasting somebody's time,
Right.
knowing that I ain't finna fuck with you like that.
Right.
So why would I do that?
A lot of people don't think like that, though.
That's so true.
A lot of people do not understand that they're wasting the other person's time
and their own.
No, they don't have
too.
their stuff together. And yeah, they're wasting their time. You know you don't have your stuff together, but you're fishing.
Right.
Why?
You think people who like go into it knowing that they're not ready is probably looking for that other person to fill that void?
Needing validation. It's a bad habit. It's a bad habit. That's what it is.
No one is in control of your happiness or your validation but you.
Exactly. Thank you.
And that's why those relationships like that usually don't work.
That has nothing to do with the next person. We gotta cut that shit out. Like we gotta stop. That has to stop.
It's what you said. You gotta look in the mirror for yourself. You gotta take inventory, take stock of yourself. A lot of people live in too much fear to where they're not doing that, or they're putting it on the back burner as if they have time to do it, and life is passing them by.
Yeah, and so listen, let's get all the way into it, right? So I'm gonna segue that into this, and y'all know I am always willing to use myself as an example.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my last relationship ended because I fucked up. I'm not talking to you about nothing that she did or didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to you about what I did and didn't do as a man.
Now, how many men can sit down and do what you just did? And I'll say women too. How many people can say this was on me?
Right. Without coming up with different excuses.
Exactly. I can take an honest look at myself and say, this is where I fell short.
Are creating situations that validate the reasons why they fell short. I've heard guys be like, you know what, it was on me because I wasn't ready for this, and this. And then in the middle of saying that, they're like, you know, she also did this. And I'm just like, oh.
Take accountability for yourself first.
And then when you ask them questions like, well, you just said it was your fault. Like, why are you putting this in here? Why does this matter? Their answer is usually like, well, all I'm doing is explaining like why the reason I acted. And I'm like, well, if you fucked up, that's not valid.
Yeah, so and I want to be clear, there is nothing that she did to cause me to act the way that I act. All right. When I had to sit back and I had to look at it, I had the opportunity to make a decision to either do it this way or do it that way, to do it the right way or to do it the wrong way. Only one person had that decision to make, and it was me. So when I started to mess those things up, this was the end result. So after that was the end result and I couldn't get her back, I had to figure out how to get myself back. The problem that I did have is that I didn't have a relationship with myself. I had to be free of certain internal demons. I had to learn how to love me again, and it took all of these years. That ain't her fault. That's my fault. Because at one point in time, she was madly in love with me. Listen, I tell guys all the time. I said a woman's heart is like a boat. Once you in, you in. But once you out, your ass is out.
It's gonna take an act of God,
It really is.
a miracle from Jesus himself.
So you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. The miracle is where I am today. That was 4 of the greatest years of my life, even though it ended the way it ended, because I learned a lot of lessons.
I just want you to clarify because I don't want LDBs thinking like y'all broke up and then bam, you realized it was you, bam, you started working on yourself. Like give
Mhm.
us a little clarity when it comes to the timeline. So
Right.
when you guys broke up,
Mhm.
how long after y'all broke up were you like, did you sit down and start, like Mia said, start taking stock of your actions and
Mhm.
looking into yourself, realizing the things that you did wrong?
We broke up in March, all of April, top of May, I started going to therapy.
Okay.
All right. And it took probably from the top of May through the summer, almost close to Labor Day,
Right.
to really get through the process of understanding my faults and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that there were things that I had to internally address. Then it was us having a conversation later on after emotions had calmed down.
Right.
And then from there, it was this process of me figuring out, okay, these things were not right, but also understanding that I was still worthy of love.
Mm-hmm.
However, I had to get away from it being a microwave process, right? And so closer to the end of that year, I started to pull myself together emotionally. Then we started working on the mental, and so because I couldn't harp on the things that I did that didn't work, in the vein of just sitting and wallowing in that, right? So it was a
Yeah.
combination of therapy, reading a lot of books, um, and those were 2 and 3. I really had to get into my prayer closet because I had to ask God, okay, you you sent me a precious jewel. I didn't take care of it. You took it back. What do I need to do now?
Mhm. Like a
Because you sent me
reset.
one of your daughters and I didn't take care of her the way that I should have in your eyes, in your heart, in your spirit. What do I need to do next? What do the next steps look like? Okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so once I got to a place where I felt like my feet were back on solid ground, that was just me. But internally, I also knew that I wasn't ready for anything deep like that.
Right.
So your sole focus shifted from relationship to relationship with myself first.
Relationship with myself, reconnecting with God, reconnecting
Mhm.
with my family, my
Mm-hmm.
career, businesses.
How uncomfortable was it for
Very,
you?
very,
That's a good one.
very, very. It was extremely uncomfortable because I had to accept the fact that I wasn't perfect,
Right.
that I had failed. Um, Here's the beautiful thing: in the midst of that journey, I realized that failure is the pathway to success.
Right.
Yeah.
You never fail. You're not gonna know how to maneuver any differently.
Right. And so if that relationship doesn't end, I'm telling y'all, we're not having this conversation.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
don't change. I don't
Boom.
learn. I don't grow.
We tend to not think about things that way. Like if I never went through this, I would have never grown. You would have never realized that you didn't have a relationship with yourself. Then you probably would have jumped into something else, and that would have went horribly for you. And it probably would have just been a cycle.
A cycle,
But
a pattern. It would have kept
yeah,
going and kept
would
going
have kept going.
until who knows what would have happened.
Till this very day. And some people don't believe me when I say this, but as in love as I was with that woman, I thank her for doing what she did, because she taught me about boundaries, and she also taught me that people that really love you will not allow you to be an enabler.
Ooh, I just got chills.
Boom.
Ooh.
Drop that bomb.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
It is. How many relationships, romantically or not, have you been in where you're trying to be that loving person that person deserves, a person who doesn't enable them, the person who helps them grow, and it just don't work because that person's not ready.
Yeah, it just doesn't pan out. And so
Yeah,
I'm triggered, so I'm going to keep drinking.
man. Oh,
I really do, and I'm being so genuine. I appreciate and I love her to this very day for that. As much as I was in love with her, a person, like I said, a person that loves you is not gonna allow you to be an enabler. And so at that point, she stood on her morals, she stood on her values, and it was, and so for the person that does that, for them, it's kind of like rolling the dice in the vein of, I love you enough to let you go, and I hope you get it.
right.
Okay, so because at that point she was gone, she not coming back. So it's like, damn, am I gonna be foolish enough to lose the woman and lose her in vain? That doesn't make sense. Why not become a better person out of it?
That sounds like where we talked about last time. That sounds like the moment where your emotional intelligence kicked in.
Right.
Like, pay attention to this, because this is where you now have a singular opportunity to do something different.
It didn't
Right.
kick in immediately. It kicked in much later.
Right. The processing part, where you had to go through some things first, process what happened, and then figure out how to heal from it. I think the emotional intelligence kicked in when you realized
Yeah.
something is not all the way right. I may not be at peace with how this all just went down. I need to try something different. I think that's where the emotional intelligence kicks in for a lot of people. What I was doing, it didn't work. I lost. I took that L.
Yeah, this ain't it.
This ain't it. I got to take it on the chin. But now I have to make another decision. I need to pivot towards something that's going to help me now, because I
Because
see
if it
what
hadn't, you would have just kept doing the same thing you were already doing.
Right, right. But you didn't do that, which is
Right.
the most important thing. That's where that emotional intelligence kicked in and said, I may not be 100% there, but I need to start this journey. Even if, whether you knew if you were ready or not, it was, I need to go on this journey. I need to at least take the first step, because what I was doing, it wasn't working. And
Cool.
so
Right. So
that's the biggest thing.
I want y'all to understand the next point. Y'all ready for this?
Oh Lord.
I am 5 years later ready to start dating again. Listen to me very carefully though, right? I am still on the journey. I'm going
Yeah.
to be on the journey forever because it was a lifestyle change. It wasn't a seasonal
Exactly.
change.
Right.
It wasn't a moment change. It was a lifestyle change.
Exactly.
I'm going to be on the journey of being a better man until God takes me from this earth.
Exactly. There's no destination. It is just
Right.
the journey. The journey
So
of coming.
the reason, so that was the reason that I started therapy, but it's not the reason that I'm still in it.
So I feel like you found some answers, some solutions. You found some coping skills.
Right.
You
Yeah.
found some things that will help you. But why are you still in therapy?
Yeah.
So there's this this internal thing. I'm not gonna speak for all Black men. In order for me to continue to be an authentic listener, to be a consistent communicator, someone that's neutral in my life to call me on my bullshit when I'm thinking about something and I express it. And my therapist, who's a Black woman, a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, that's going to lovingly tell me, you full of shit.
Right.
To make me say things back to myself, does that really make sense?
Right.
And then I can now take these things and apply it where it needs to be in my life.
So it sounds like when your journey into therapy, she opened up some doors to some other things.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And oh yeah, so Pandora's box got bust wide open. Right? And so another thing that I realized within that was simple. Listen, there are so many simple things that cause massive problems. Something simple as I learned to listen to understand as opposed to listening to reply.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's that was there were so many things. Ah man, we we could talk about that for hours. But I do want people that's listening to know and understand that um your mental health is vital to self-preservation. It's okay for you to be selfish in the vein of you making sure that you have you together, that you love you,
Yeah.
that you understand you, because no one else is going to understand you if you don't understand yourself.
Right.
And so throughout the beginning of that process, it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell anybody that's listening, if you're assuming that it was peaches and cream, if you assuming that that prayer uh throughout that time didn't include a lot of tears, a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, you sadly mistaken. I'm sitting here as a man and I'm telling you, I cried a lot behind that.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Like,
That's what it is, and that's okay.
and I know it's okay. But
I had to throw that in there because that's for the guys who think
Right. Who think it's not.
I crying behind no girl,
Right.
no chick. Like, it's all right. It's okay. We understand.
it happened. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like it didn't. Listen, this is real life. This happened. And I'm not the first man it happened to, certainly ain't the last.
Right. Exactly.
And so again, full circle. That's something 5 years ago that I couldn't talk about openly. Now I understand through this journey that it's a natural human emotion.
Yeah.
And natural human emotion is something that us as Black men have to tap into more. We need to understand the difference between having emotion and being emotional.
Because I say men are unstable, emotional
Ooh,
creatures.
I said the same thing.
Much more than women.
Than women.
Y'all just try to hide behind so many things.
So like the other day, I forgot what we were doing, and whoever I was with was like, "Oh, you need to stop. You acting like a girl." And I was like, "Nah, he acting like a boy. Like for real, he acting like a boy."
Okay.
Like I'm a girl, and I have girlfriends when I was younger, and we did not act like this. It's just like,
thank you.
In my experience, the male species, human species, have been way more emotional, and I'm just like, and then I feel like the emotion comes from different places. When I'm emotional, it's like I'm emotional because I'm so upset because it's like there's no comprehension, and it's like very emotional because it's a lot of things that just had not made sense.
It doesn't make sense. So
when we're talking about those things that's supposed to be common sense, it's like it's not.
Irrational, illogical, unjustifiable, groundless, unreasonable, baseless.
Right. And you try to say that everybody's emotions are valid, but you know, I've had some testing moments.
Y'all be trying it.
And those type of people, and I don't know if you went through this when you started therapy, but I wanted to ask you, something to you is just so foreign. You don't feel like you're this person. Your therapist is trying to tell you, okay, like you probably need to explore this area because it looks like you have issues in this area. But you think you're right? Did you have any of those issues when you first started therapy? Like your therapist trying to point you in different directions to explore within your life, but you're thinking like, that's not me.
And so definitely early on to the point to where it was like, okay, if you're not going to be honest with me or yourself, I'm not just gonna take your money just cause. It's what she told me.
That's a good therapist. Okay.
We not therapist. You know, she laid it straight out like, we're not going to do this. This is not a thing.
Right.
Because in order for you to become the person you say you want to be, everything has to go on the table.
Yeah.
And it's not everybody else. Who's the common denominator? Self is always the common denominator.
Yep.
You know, and ironically, the before I even got to this therapist, I started with an associate pastor at the church. That's where it started.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Rev. I know I do, but I also knew that there were some things that needed to come out and needed to be expressed that wouldn't necessarily happen in that environment.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Right?
I could definitely see how you wouldn't want someone like that at your church knowing the ugly side of you.
No, it wasn't that.
I was asking because I could just see like that being someone where you would like to present your best self in front of on a regular basis. So when it comes to seeking them for like therapy, and getting to know you on that deep, intimate, personal level, I don't think I would be able to share all the things that I could share to be better.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I still got to see you on Sunday morning, right?
Exactly.
Let me back up, because context matters. This pastor was someone that we were extremely close with. Had been to the house, him and the wife, the kids broke bread together.
Okay.
This was somebody that knew what it really was. This was
Right.
that 7 days in a week, I talked to him 3-4 times a week, takes throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a level of understanding.
Right.
Okay.
That knew the ups and downs of anything that I was dealing with. Right? So that did change the dynamic. You are absolutely correct. The truth of the matter is this. I still believe that God is going to send me a wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
When that moment comes and that part of my life begins, it's going to be another set of steps. So for everything that I've gone through in my healing process, I'm still going to have to learn how to love her with the things that I've learned.
That's right. And we can circle that back
Right.
to the whole conversation about love languages.
Mm-hmm.
We can circle that conversation back to therapy and what you've learned, emotional intelligence and what you've learned. I feel like there's so many things at play to where you're being molded into the person that you're meant to be, because you have all these things at play. They're working to where like it has no choice but to work out, because you have the emotional awareness, you already have the relationship with self, and it's continually building. You're learning from mistakes, or you're learning lessons from previous experience, so you have that background knowledge, and then you know what you want. So if you put all these things together and you allow it to work together, it's going to work together for your good.
Right. And so here's what I also want the listeners to understand, especially the male listeners.
Talk to them.
For everything that I've learned during this time, see, learning it is one thing. I can read the book, I can practice the play, I can do the conditioning, the training, the whole nine. It is the implementation
Exactly.
Preach.
of what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, everybody that's listening, if you haven't listened to the guy that really broke down emotional intelligence, y'all got to go back and listen.
Come on, Marlon.
All right, Marlon.
My dog.
Listen to Marlon.
You broke it down.
If we're in this and y'all listening and we're bringing up emotional intelligence, y'all have to go back. I would encourage you to go back and listen to him to get a more in-depth understanding about that particular topic of discussion. Seriously, I've listened to it. I can't tell you how many times.
Come on.
Anyway,
text it right now.
I'm also cognitive of the fact that I get on here, we talk. Me and I, talk all the time, text all the time. I talk with other friends. So it's like, all right, cool. You seem to have this thing together. You got yourself back on track. Talking a lot of shit. When the woman comes, God is going to test me multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
People like to say when things happen, that ain't nothing but the devil. Well, the devil had to get permission from God, so I put it all on God. God going to send the test. All right?
Mm.
Come on.
You want to see if you could back that shit up.
Come
Right.
on. That's right.
So I know that the tests, plural, not one, multiple, they coming.
Yep. Until you pass it, it's gonna keep coming back.
Right? And so that is something that I definitely understand that as I continue to go on this daily lifestyle change that was made, there are things that I know that I have to be prepared for and aware of. And I have to remember these moments. I have to remember these discussions. I have to remember things that I've learned from my female friends. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. You don't have to make the mistake to learn from it. Pay attention to the things that happen around you.
Thank you. I'm
All right?
Experience is not always the best teacher.
Come on. That's right.
Trying to tell these LDBs, y'all, like he know how to cook.
Secrets.
I know he got a high EQ. I mean, y'all like hit us up on the Not So Private Pod dating matchmaking service podcast.
We need to start a matchmaking pod.
Yeah, I mean, we could be the Not So Private matchmaking podcast now. I mean,
I feel it.
Hit us up on the email. Y'all know it, notsopprivatepod@gmail.com.
Come on, plug. Come on.
Y'all don't even have to DM him. Just email us. We'll get the process started. Y'all know how we do is the boutique matchmaking service podcast.
Matchmaker, make me a match. We can pull it off.
There we go.
I think we could pull it off. No, but Jeanne earlier, she said, we're going to take our very popular conversation series, Relationships Get Ill, and turn it into Relationships Get Real. And I feel like you really you killed it. Relationships Get Real. I think that's
I'll be on my rap-ish, my freestyle-ish sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
I really think we brought
just straight off the dome.
We started off talking about, can you love two people at the same time? Can you be in love with two people at the same time? We talked about therapy. We talked about what it takes to really, truly love a person. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Right.
I'm here for it. Like I said, I was trying to sit back and learn. Because as much as we like to think we know, it doesn't hurt to continue. I'm here for it.
You all teach me a lot and you affirm a lot as well.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more conversations with Rashawn, and dive deep into other topics. But y'all, that's what we're gonna end it this week. Like we said earlier, thank you, Rashawn, for joining us again, especially after the technical issues last week. So we're the second time we doing this, but I'm glad you make time for us. Yeah, we appreciate it. I'm glad we actually got to. Everything happens for a reason, because we got to dive into things that we talked about last week, but we didn't really get real into it. And some of those things that we got real into, we wouldn't have been able to even put on because of the time. So I'm glad that we got to rehash a lot of those things. But as always, LDBs, thank y'all for joining us. And as always, we will talk to you guys next week for another Not So Private conversation.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much, long distance besties, for joining us again for another Not So Private conversation. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Jeanne V. Williams. That's at Jeanne, Jeanne V. Williams, and at Perfectly Mia. That's at Perfectly MIA. And if you have any topic suggestions or any questions, shoot us an email at notsoprivatepod@gmail.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We definitely appreciate it. Remember to leave a review on Spotify, Apple, and Google. You can also find us at Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast, and Breaker. And you can find us on anchor.fm/not-so-private-pod. Now you can also hear us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Not So Private Podcast channel. Now, with all of that being said, join us next time for another Not So Private conversation.